Welcome back to Noise Avocation Podcast. I'm Ryan here with Jeremy and our good friend Will. How you
What's
doing,
up,
man?
motherfuckers?
What's up?
I haven't seen you in a while since before like today, so that's fucking how you been?
Good, doing good. Living life, trying to stay under the radar. Got some different things going on, but mostly just work keeps me busy, but living that small town life, I guess.
Dude, you're right. No headphones is weird.
It's weird, right? I gotta have them on.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You still work at Besser, right?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep. Still making machine parts for the masses.
So,
How long have we known each other? I don't know.
Oh, let's see. Probably 15,
That's what I was
Maybe.
thinking.
something like that. Going back to the Red Wings' second batch of championships.
that's
is
funny
where it
that's
started.
how you date that.
Well, yeah, and I'm trying to. I know it's like
I do that a lot, especially with Detroit sports. Definitely moments where,
I think I've only known you for like 4 or 5 years.
19 years I've known you because I met you before I could drink
Okay.
in Grand Rapids.
really,
Yeah.
in Grand Rapids, in the
at-
alley.
No, at a fucking Eric Tank's birthday party, maybe.
Oh my God, that is weird. I don't even remember that.
But that's just where I met
Wow.
you. Was just like
Okay, that's probably sounds right.
I was like the fucking monk, the fucking high school brat running around in that motherfucker.
Wow,
Where'd you
that
say
is
it was
true.
at? Was that a birthday party?
Yeah, in Grand Rapids at this dude Eric Tanks and fucking Dumpy.
Oh, that
Dumpy
place?
lived there, and he had a fucking like a Harley all torn apart.
Oh, that might have been Hoffman and Dumpy and Dave's house, which we lived more like on Heritage Hill.
I don't even remember how the fuck I got there.
That's
honestly.
a trip, dude. We had a citywide party called Sink or Swim, and we flyered this party citywide. We didn't know really that many people. There was a large contingent of our people from our hometown that lived down there, but we had this huge house and we were struggling making rent. So we flyered a city party, and 500 to 600 people showed up, random people.
It's so crazy.
We knew the brewmaster from Founders before they got big, and we got kegs for like $40, and we charged $5 a head, and the entire city showed up.
Yeah, that's.
It might have been that one.
No, there wasn't that many people
Okay.
there.
Okay.
It was like a regular house party.
Okay, just like the crew.
I was like 20, so you would have been like 25, 24.
Yeah, I probably would just moved there. Wow.
And
What a
then
trip.
when you came back, that's when you moved back, that's what I don't know. That would have been how much longer after that?
From Grand Rapids, I don't even remember how I landed back here. It wasn't for very long.
Yeah, and then you bounced.
Then I bounced to Florida. Yeah. I don't know. I've been all over,
So
man.
Bill's
Started to
been all
remember
over.
of it.
I just met you at Phildo's house.
Yeah, I remember that night, too, because I was back in town from Traverse City, my last residence out of my hometown. And, yeah, you would come over or whatever, and I met you, and you were a cool cat. And I think we had...
I was
some
living
schooling.
downstairs at the time, I think, still.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then, I remember seeing you in college for a while because you were in, like, the welding class, and I was in a machining
Oh, yeah.
class.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that was cool. So that was a while. So I graduated, whatever, and I went to work at Besser, which Besser is a company that makes machines that make concrete blocks that build buildings all over the world. So
Yeah, apparently that's what we're famous for.
it is.
If people know anything about Alpena.
Concrete
Yeah.
and shipwrecks.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah,
right.
shipwrecks, too.
Like world renowned, dude. We got fucking more shipwrecks than anywhere in the world.
Well, we do have the biggest bodies of open water, so, I mean, it would make sense.
No, we don't.
Open fresh water, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Safe harbor for pirates. Well, actually, kind of an odd reference, skipping ahead a little bit, but our first song in our last band was about shipwrecks off the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird kind of
That's why
side note.
when we were talking earlier, I was like, I don't have any audio of that.
I can't remember the name of the song either, but it was the first one.
So let's rewind.
Yeah.
Let's go back to your musical influences, Bill. Because this is, for those who don't know, I guess he's one of the first guys to sing for a hardcore band in Alpena.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard. Is like you were like one of the guys that like.
So it would have
brought
been
it
like
here.
you, Kyle, Nate, and Josh would be like the first guys to bring hardcore around here. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say we were the first modern hardcore band, like a Victory Records style hardcore band. Before that, there was a band. It was called Youth Conspiracy, and I wasn't in that band, but that was Black Flag covers, Minor Threat covers, and that's kind of really what turned me onto the scene. Like before that, I was probably, I don't even know what I was into. Definitely not hardcore. But after that show, and it was at
Rod Stewart.
yeah, Rod Stewart. Yeah, I mean, impression wise,
Since we were taught, keep going.
he wasn't there that night, but he may come up later.
You never know.
That was at the theater, which burnt, and it was a battle of the bands. And we had a lot of bands back then, a lot of punk bands. There was a ska band, Spike Punch, or no, actually, Spike Punch wasn't around yet. Mike was in some band, I can't remember what it was called, something Fall, One Fall, and they won that.
Where
that
did Battle of
contest.
the Bands take place? Like in Alpena?
Right across from JJ's, that theater.
Oh, the one that just burned down.
Yeah, the one that just burned
shit,
down.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Hopefully that stage is still there because there was some great shows there, and we did end up playing one show there about a year later. That was really cool. But yeah, I digress. I suppose that's kind of where things started, was that battle of the bands, and then being a small town, like we had a wealth of musical talent in this town going all the way back to the 70s. A lot of different bands coming up here, and for me personally, like we used to have these shows out in the country at this Wilson Township Hall. It was a little nothing hall out in the middle of nowhere across from a cemetery. And when I was in junior high, maybe late grade school, there was a lot of shows that would go on out there. Crack Abraham, Kane, Hieronymus Bosch, Dig Dug. A lot of like punk bands, but definitely had their own flavor. I mean, being small town, they were definitely unique. So that's kind of where it started for me. This is the first show I'd ever been to, was right here locally. And I think that kind of influences probably like our mindset, because we already had a scene in a way, an established music scene. So it wasn't like we were blazing a trail or anything. It was already there. We just augmented.
That's
the
how
style.
you set the groundwork for me getting into it. So, and the same thing is my first show was here in Alpena. So, it is strange to think that there was I don't know 75, 80 people at that show, and then once you go to like let's say Detroit at that time, or Flint, Saginaw, a lot more people, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that was kind of like always our target, was to, well, I guess I'll go back a little bit more. Before the band started, that was like the beginnings of it. But once we got into high school and we started kind of expanding our musical horizons with different people coming together, because like I grew up in like a Catholic school for 8 years. We were pretty isolated, but the thing is, like, in a way, we were kind of more rambunctious, I think, than the normal public school kids, because we had a little bit more confinements. So
You
we
went
probably,
to St. Anne's?
Yep, St. Anne's represent. A lot of people, good people, come through there, and we were. I was actually in that school because of some issues I had as a kid in public schools. I had some violent tendencies, and I was thrown out of a lot of schools.
Shit,
and,
everybody at this table's been thrown out of our local high school, which is pretty funny.
Yep, me too. Yep. And I was actually cool. I was straight edge in high school, so. But I didn't really care. I was in a band. I was like, whatever. I don't need school. Well, now I'm 44 years old. Kind of wish I would have stayed in school.
That's always like the case. I try to tell my kid that all the time. Eventually, you'll regret it.
Right.
So, what was your first band?
First band, well, if Nick's listening, it was, well, I'm not even going to bring that up. It was like a Pearl. I'm not going to bring up the name because the name sucks.
Come on, dude.
But the band was, we were 12 or 11 or 12. I don't know. We were in 5th grade.
That's fucking awesome. What was the name, dude? It can be so stupid,
It's
doesn't
so
even matter.
lame, dude.
Come on, dude. You know it. You gotta say it.
All right. Oh my God. This is going to be the only thing that's remembered out of this whole podcast. Nick knows it. It's called Porcelain Flowers. I think we ended up on it.
That's
I have
not
no
quite as
idea why.
dumb as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Oh man, that
I've heard dumber, but it feels a little soft, is all.
So-
but it is porcelain, so. I don't know.
immediately comes to mind, which is funny. Fucking Batman, dude. The
Maybe
Joker.
that's where we got it from.
There's porcelain fucking
Yeah.
flowers in that
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
And we always talk about Batman on here. You see that?
That might have been a subconscious
It's fate.
influence on me.
So that's not that bad. I
Yeah,
thought it was
that
gonna
is that
be
bad.
like something like fucking, like, I fucking know, like Will and the fucking
Shit eaters.
sheep herders or something. I'm fucking knowing, dude.
Heavy pet. Will's heavy petting.
Yeah,
petting
fucking Hootie and the fucking idiots.
That was later on in life. We come up with that one. But at that time, yeah. So that was the first band. It was like a Pearl Jam fucking grunge influence band. We were maybe in junior high. I think we were in 6th grade. Probably still in elementary school.
Fair to
Anyway,
say like
we
MTV was
sucked.
a pretty big influence on you.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, I guess over the years, being a child of the 80s and the 90s, a true Gen Xer, I've kind of had a little bit of a taste of everything, I suppose, from the 80s to the 90s.
I hear you.
But after 2000, most things became very uninteresting. I'd say 92 was the most magical year ever. If you look at all the releases, everything, Dr. Dre's The Chronic, I mean, you had everything coming out in 92. All the movies, all the music. So it was like probably
Yeah,
peak
that's
of
sick.
Pretty sure
civilization.
Redman's first album was
The
92.
peak of civilization.
Yep, and it's all been downhill.
Pete Rock and CL Smooth's
92
album was 92.
motherfuckers.
92. 92. So anyway, so we went on, we ended up in high school. So freshman year, I was kind of a loner, but referencing back to this band, Youth Conspiracy, I started getting the gears turning for Minor Threat, Black Flag, stuff like that. They were covering those bands, never heard of them before, and I was taken. So I got into Henry Rollins' book publishing company. I think it's called 21361, if I remember right. I don't know if it's still around. But I started getting into Rollins' band and a lot of his writings and stuff, and I started slapping these stickers on the back of my hatchback 1985 Ford. And people started noticing me in these bands. They were like, well, who's this guy? Blah, blah, blah. My connection, Nick, we went to grade school together, so he let them know who I was. Fast forward, I was offered to sing in a hardcore band. And didn't really know about hardcore necessarily, other than Black Flag, Minor Threat. And I was down for that. That sounded perfect. But as time went on, and I got to know my friends a little bit more, I realized it's more metal than it is punk. And it was more the Victory record years,
Have a lot of that integrity influence,
a
man.
lot of integrity. Yep.
But,
a lot of Earth Crisis, Bloodlet, all that good stuff.
I listened to that earlier today because I knew you were coming in here, and it's funny, dude, because of what's being played now, and like what the kids are digging as far as a lot of hardcore bands, is that shit would almost stand up now, because everything's stealing from that era. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Or borrowing, biting, however, doing different things with it. But yeah, it's cool, man, to fucking listen to that shit. And it's like, from Alpena. Like, we actually had some cool shit going on here at one time.
You're talking about Ingrain, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure I'm on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a couple different band iterations over the year. I'd say Ingrain was probably the most personal and influential, certainly for this scene. I mean, we kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of things to come. But like I said earlier, we had groundwork. I mean, we didn't blaze any trails except for hardcore. You know what I mean? That was all. And but so people dug us because we were heavy, very heavy. There weren't a lot of heavy bands back then. There was God Pit, and they would play shows together. But we were straight edge. We were vegan. I mean, we had some entrance fees to get close to our circle or whatever. But
That's what your lyrical content basically stemmed from then?
yeah, a lot of it was straight edge, and it was political, and there was some personal stuff in there. But for the most part, you know, we were riding that wave right after Gomorrah season ends come out. Like, we were kind of in the middle of that. And then that was our hometown. We got the band kind of going, and then we started going to shows in Detroit, and that changed everything. That was where we got introduced to Earthmover. That whole scene down there, it blew our minds. We were itching to get down there, and we finally got a ride. I don't know, we were 15, 16. So we loaded up and we drove down there, and it was at a club called the Mosquito Club, I believe. It was next to Pharaoh's, and it was Earthmover, One King Down, and Brothers Keeper.
Oh, mother.
So that was truly
You can't kill me. Oh, love
the
that
beginning.
shit, dude.
Yep, that was the beginning, because I had no clue what I was getting into. But when we were sitting in the parking lot, the entire parking lot is full of these hardcore kids from Detroit, and we're, you know, from a small town up north, and we're putting our little bandanas on and like whatever. We don't even know what we're getting ready for.
Shout out to Rob from One King Down.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
dude's
Totally
got.
love to have you on. I know you're watching.
Yes, get a hold of these guys. You got the best verticals I've ever seen on stage in my life.
You are
By
a
far.
beast, sir.
So yeah, so I mean, Earthmover absolutely blew me away when they got on. The aggression and just the pure intention of the drive of their music and their vocal style. I mean, it blew me away. It absolutely blew me away. This wasn't Black Flag. This wasn't Minor Threat. This was something a little bit angrier.
Now, did you guys mosh hard at that time, or did you pick that
No.
up from going down there?
No, we didn't dance too much, just because, you know, being small town kids from up north, like, we had a little bit of hesitancy to get in a pit with all these Detroit motherfuckers. I mean, like,
I'm saying though, like up here, because
up here?
I have
Oh,
some
yeah.
footage, and what's funny is how one tape in particular is like band plays a song, and like everybody knows that breakdown's coming,
Oh, I
and
know
you
what
can
you're
tell.
gonna- I see that.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody dances, breakdown's over, everybody stops.
Right.
So it's you know, and I mean that's like not apparently an Alpena thing, because there was people from Detroit in these videos doing the same shit. So I was like, man, that's fucking crazy, weird. Because now, man,
Yeah.
people. Well, I guess not now. People seem to open up and stand around, but a little later on, everybody's fucking moving around, going ape shit crazy, you know.
Right. And I suppose, like, being in our hometown here, you know, we were way more relaxed to kind of cut loose and
Definitely,
throw some
definitely.
windmills and whatnot. But, like, also, we were in VFW halls. So we weren't in, like, a proper venue or anything. So there was no oversight. There was nobody there except us.
Now, who was putting the shows on back then?
Well,
Would you guys have to like call around to the hall and like say, "Yo, we're putting on a show, or it's my birthday or whatever"? And
Pretty much. There was
telephone, old school, no internet.
Yeah. No.
Fuck, man, that shit's just so crazy to think about now. Like as far as like booking a band and then hoping that they're gonna show up. And
Right.
You can't just like call them. Oh yeah, we're on fucking 23, man. We'll be
Right.
there in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was different to get
Wild.
bands here. Absolutely, to get bands over here. I think Nate Stickney was probably the main getter of bands. I'm sure Nick was influential on all
Shout
that.
out to Nate. We love you, dude.
Hell yeah. Representing Florida. But
Bring
yeah.
me a Ducati.
Right. Send one up north, maybe.
I mean, 3 of them.
But yeah, we would set up different shows, and to get bands here was a little tricky. We had a couple bands that were a little bit weird, a little bit different, but they came, they showed up. So whatever, we were going to do our thing regardless. But yeah, that first show was a pretty big deal. I remember leaving there just kind of like in a daze. I didn't know what I just witnessed. It was too intense. And kind of another cool little side note to that show, it was Spit's last show in Flint. So I believe the drummer of Earthmover was drumming for them, if I remember right. And they had to book ass out of that show to get to Flint to play that last show for Spit.
Dude, I want to say I've heard that story before.
Yeah, it was kind of a trip. So we were left with One King Down and Brothers Keeper, which
Did they have to go up to play with Pitbull or something?
I don't remember. Maybe.
So,
Yeah.
One King Down, Brothers Keeper.
Yep. Well, of course, as you mentioned, Rob, he took over. Absolutely blew me away. And I was a little more familiar with One King Down. I think we already had their release before that, so we were familiar lyrically, and we
Bloodlust Revenge.
Yep, Bloodlust Revenge. I think we knew where all the breakdowns were going to show up, so
That's-
we were ready. But we didn't dance. I mean, we were 16. Like, we were a little nervous, maybe.
Oh shit, dude, I remember being a youngin' down there and getting fucking hit and just like gritting my teeth and like showing no emotion or anything, just going, oh my god, this fucking sucks. Oh, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the worst I got, it was at Detroit Fest, and Morning Again headlined it. And it was a huge, like, multi-day festival, and this one band in Detroit, I'll probably pronounce their name wrong. It's either Trifine or Treffine. 3 singers, Scotty Backflip, Dave
Yeah, dude.
Hayes, all them guys. And like,
Didn't
I
you
remember.
talk to somebody else about that?
Yeah.
And they were trying to pronounce the names.
It's
Yeah.
Trifine. And
Okay,
we're-
we always said it
who
wrong.
were we talking to
I
about
don't
that?
remember off the top of my head.
Because on a side note on that, Ryan Tolan, a friend of ours, he made a T-shirt
Oh, right.
because they never had like T-shirts apparently.
Yeah,
It might have
they
been
had one.
Dan from Coalition. I
Oh,
think.
maybe
yeah,
it was.
maybe.
Maybe it was.
Yeah. Well, that story. So we'd been wanting to see them for a while,
Yeah, they're
and that
sick.
was the main reason we went to that festival. Earthmover played. Well, no, Earthmover played a year before. Anyway, we went to see them, and I was right in the middle of the pit. As soon as they opened up, the very first note that dropped, I think I was punched in the balls, kicked in the face. I hit the ground, and immediately I was helped up and like literally thrown to the side of the pit. And okay, that was enough for me. And so for the rest of the night, I kind of watched them from the edge of the pit. But that was probably the brutalest pit, other than like Fury of 5 and Earth Crisis in Buffalo. That was a little rough. But I wasn't much of a mosher, too much. I
Right.
was for bands that I knew the members in the band. It was different.
Oh
Bands that
yeah,
were,
like when you're showing love and shit, you know.
Yep.
For sure. And
Uh-huh.
like you don't want to fucking be moshing it up and look like a fucking idiot when the breakdown's over and you're still out there floor punching, right?
That happened more than once. I'm
Fuck,
sure.
it happens every time, dude.
The audio would drop and we'd be out there all floor punching in slow motion.
Yeah.
Like
It's like that guy that holds a clap for too long.
Exactly.
That was us.
exactly.
That was us collectively. But thankfully, that rarely happened.
So how far did Ingrain go then?
Let's see.
You guys put out a demo.
Yep, demo.
Did
Yeah, I
you
think we
only
had a-
play around Alpena? Did you play anywhere else?
We played Pharaohs once, and I think that was it for Ingrain. The Pharaohs show,
That's fucking sick.
I think we were supposed to play with, or we did play with Harvest, and For the Love of.
Damn.
I
So
was-
you play it like with fucking Harvest, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool to say.
They influenced our music very heavily
Oh, I can-
after we
yeah.
we did everything Harvest after that.
That is very apparent
Yeah.
in the next band, actually.
Yep. Our full release, you can hear the Harvest in there
Yeah.
big time.
Which is fucking not a bad thing. Anybody
No.
out there, they just released Transitions on vinyl for the first
Nice.
time like a month ago, maybe.
Yeah, that was a pivotal album, no doubt.
So sick.
Yep, I still have that on CD.
Do you?
That's a trip. Yeah, I
Yeah,
found
that's
that the other
fucking
day.
dope.
Yeah, so I don't remember them playing, but I remember they were super dope. And I think I was doing merch or something. And this band, For the Love of, they set up and had like candles and a big gong. And like they hit this gong and like all the lights went down, and the candles were up. And we
Sick.
were like, what the fuck is going on? And they were one of the sickest fucking bands I've ever seen. And their release, and this is super rare. I don't know if these guys are still around hearing this, but they had the best movie samples ever.
And
Like-
Harvest?
No, For the Love of.
Oh, For the Love
yeah,
of.
dude. YouTube them guys and check their samples. They're dope. They're really cool.
I am unfamiliar with that band.
Yeah, I never heard it.
They're different. They're kind of, I don't want to categorize them, but like Chaos Core, Converge, kind of like
Or
that.
the Love of?
Yep. You're probably gonna get the fucking phone book when you look that up, but
No, that's okay. I'm just doing it so I don't forget later.
yeah, word. So that was the only show we actually played down there.
So after Ingrain, then what did you do? Because the only band that I've ever actually heard of yours was Ingrain. And I have a,
Okay.
There's a shitty laptop in a drawer right there.
Right.
I have like a MP3 thing that I got off of, I don't even remember how or where I got it, to be honest. Pat, maybe.
Okay.
And it's on that computer. That computer no longer works, but the reason
Mm.
I've been keeping it is because I have a bunch of random shit on there that I need to get off the hard drive
Yeah, dude.
before I toss it, and that's on there.
Nice.
But I know of Wild Will and the Four Plays.
Yeah.
I only know it by name, though. I've never heard it. And outside of
And
those
you never
two,
will, sir.
Yeah.
That was a blip.
I've,
No,
uh,
that shit was fun.
wasn't it
It
just
was.
one show or something?
No, we played
no,
a
we
couple
played a couple.
shows.
Yeah. One local and one in Ferndale.
I don't know,
With
somewhere in
goddamn
Metro,
gallows.
dude. I got pretty intoxicated, as did
We
you.
all did, I believe. Yeah, that was Night's End. I think I ended up trying to fight everybody over the sink not working right.
Yeah, and you kept. All right, so this dude's like fucking screaming about like they're trying to take our women, and the woman
Oh,
that they're
no.
trying to take, I'm not gonna say who it is, but she knows who she
Oh,
is,
that's right. I remember
and she's
this
just like our
story.
homegirl. You know what I mean? But
I don't remember.
it was pretty funny, dude. We're like, dude,
Oh, I remember now. Yeah.
they're not taking our women. We only have one, and she's like
Oh my
a
God.
broad woman, you know.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
It was.
Yeah.
So what was the next like serious band after Ingrain?
I didn't have any other bands between there until As Heroes Die.
Okay.
As Heroes Die, I was not on the recording. It was just guitars. But they had interest in the label, and they got set up for a tour with a band from Windsor called Hard Time. Shout out Hard Time. Hope
Yeah,
you
hard
guys are all
times the
alive.
shit, dude.
Love you guys. Miss you. Had a great time. We booked up a tour with them for Canada, New York, and we wanted to get down to Jersey and then come back. So that would be the next band that I was in. Let's see. They pretty much had a full demo. By the time I got into the band, I just laid down bass lines. I wanted to be part of that band. It was all my boys, you know.
I feel that's probably the most successful hardcore band to come out of Alpena.
Yeah.
Or the most
Talented.
well-known.
And talented by far. We had Kirchhoff on drums at that point, so we were all double bass,
Yeah, dude.
heavier than fuck. We leaned real hard into metal, and then Bird was on vocals, so backflips,
Right.
brutal fucking vocals. I mean, it was awesome. We were a force to be reckoned with, no doubt.
It's like imagine pre-In for the Kill.
Exactly. Yeah. So I played bass on that band. It was cool. We booked up that tour. We headed out. First show was in Windsor, which was kind of a different night. we didn't play that. It was in somebody's backyard. And I remember me and Bird started moshing because nobody was really dancing. So we were throwing windmills, and it was in somebody's backyard.
Mhm.
And I slipped and fell into a kiddie pool that was full of like
Oh,
green
shit.
algae and slime and shit.
Oh, damn.
And like I recovered, like I was on one arm, slid through it, and like I come out of it and I went right back into a windmill and floor
Fucking, yeah,
pins,
you can
punching.
recover when you're young, dude.
And so that was the first night, and then we actually got on the legit tour. And wow, I don't know. There was a lot of different shows, mostly in Canada. So we were all 19-ish, so we could drink in Canada.
Oh yeah.
So things got a little bit spicier, I guess, in that band. Different shows. I'd say the highlight of that tour would be London, Ontario. Kind of an interesting night. I don't remember the bands that we played with other than Hard Time, who we were touring with. But that show was off the fucking hook. It was unreal. People were going crazy. It was a great set. We got off. Hard Time went on, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen as far as dancing in a pit or whatever at a hardcore show. Bird, at one point, there was this big brick wall, and Bird goes running at this brick wall, whoop, climbs up the wall and kick flips off the fucking wall and lands in the middle of the pit straight into a windmill. And the entire place was like, holy fuck, that was the band that just got off stage. That was their singer. So
Right, so you guys are like, this is what the fuck is up.
pretty much, yep.
Yeah, that's good
Yep.
shit.
And that could harken back to One King Down and all that. I mean, we were just, I don't know, being from a small town, maybe we were a little pent up.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I always thought we fucking danced hard up here, dude.
Yep.
I mean,
We had the comfort knowing if you hit somebody in the face accidentally, like it was probably your boy.
right, and yeah, exactly. And I've seen fucking a lot of my boys' teeth and noses, blood, just standing there, dude. I can think of somebody goes back to windmill, nose just like, oh shit, sorry, dude. Like, yeah, you knew there were motherfuckers behind you. Why didn't you just take 2 steps forward?
Yeah.
Right. Lean into it.
Yeah, lean into it. Wham. But no, it's all. I always thought that, man. From even when like we'd go over to Traverse City,
Yeah.
and that shit was always a good time.
Yeah, Traverse City had a little bit of a scene. Actually, our first show was it was called a gear festival, and it was basically a skateboarding festival of bands. It was indoors. It was at the local fucking, what is that thing called? Fairgrounds.
It was at the Merchants Building.
Yep.
That was the first gear. Now, I was
Yep.
I was but a wee tyke then, and
Yeah,
I
it was
actually went
96.
there. I went there to skate, and I wasn't into fucking punk music, hardcore at that time, man. I was just fucking knee deep into fucking hip hop, and that's just like what I was fucking, into, and I remember you guys were in there, but I was so focused on like trying to be the best fucking skater I could. I didn't give up,
Yeah, it was a competition for sure. That was the
and
main
it was,
draw.
It was real cool, man, back then to have that in this town.
Yeah. Shout out to Derek Hamilton and his dad.
Yeah, for sure.
Them two, without that show, that gear festival, honestly, I don't know if the band really would have blown up and the scene would have blown up like it did. That was a safe haven. It was like an incubator for music. It was
My
great.
old lady and I talk about sometimes, like, because she was there, we could have passed each other and not even known it.
Right.
Shit, right?
Probably.
Fucking dweeb, and like kicked me over or something.
Well, it was our first show. I remember I was nervous as fuck, and that show is on video somewhere because we went back to the crib and watched that video.
Oh, I'd fucking love
It
to
was
see
weird.
that one.
It was weird. It was very strange. So that was kind of going back and forth. That was Ingrain. That was our first show. But back to the tour years later, and As Heroes Die, we were supposed to tour with Shutdown, I believe, and we were supposed to pick them up.
You guys played one show with them, didn't you?
We played one show and we didn't even stick around to watch them because we were broke. It was the end of the tour. It was Toronto. And
I'd love Shutdown.
Oh, man.
I would have loved to see.
we wanted to bad. I think Red Sky played that. They had just come out. They were heavier than fuck. We wanted to see them too, but we had $0. And we finally got to Toronto, and we still had to get to Jersey yet, and we were out of money. It was a
Get to,
self-finance
and
tour.
back home.
And back home.
Yeah.
We had nothing left.
19 years old.
Yep, we were all 19.
And you probably weren't being paid to play, or were you?
We got a little bit of scratch for each show, but not much. Maybe
And
$50. Enough
Again,
for gas.
no internet. You can't just
No
sell your
internet.
dirty undies online in
Right.
Canada and get a quick buck, you know?
Nope. But yeah, I mean, the tour was great. London was great. Like I said, Toronto though was interesting because when we got to there, like I said, we were beat from the road. We were sick of each other, and it was probably 95 fucking degrees in Toronto that day. I mean, of all days, right? So
Yeah.
we get to the venue. We're there at like 9 in the morning. The show isn't until I don't know 6.
But you didn't have anywhere else to be.
We had nowhere else to go.
No
and
money.
No money. So we couldn't turn the ignition. And so us in hard time, we just posted up in some parking lot and got a couple gallons of water, drank water for 8 hours in the sun. And we played that show. We opened up. We got done. We all huddled up and we're like, we have literally just enough money to maybe make it back to the border. Not even get back to, our hometown. So
Not even get back to our fucking country.
no. Yeah, we were in a tight spot, so we had to give up on the tour, and we come home with our tails between our legs. We never got to technically play what shut down on the last leg of the tour and stuff, but we did make it back. We had to turn our lead guitarist upside down and shake every nickel he had out of his pockets to put gas in the tank, and we got over the border. We got detained for a minute. Bird was a little sleepy, we'll say. And
Right on.
They woke him up for a full-on, who are you and why are you coming into this country and where you been? Needless to say, he wasn't the most cooperative.
Never is.
No, but we made it back.
That's cool. Now, there was label interest in, wasn't Stillborn interested in As Heroes Die at one point?
I had heard some conjecture about that. I wasn't really involved in the business aspect of the band, unfortunately. I was always just kind of...
That's what I heard. And, of course, I'm going to be like, dude, that's fucking crazy. You know? Jimmy Joss's label. Like,
right. Would have been pretty cool. That was probably out there. Honestly, we were good enough. We were interesting enough, no doubt, to make some waves. But again, as soon as we got our footing in that band, things kind of broke up.
just
And-
people, growing up, doing different things, wanting different things.
Yep. As adulthood goes, we went our different ways, and it kind of solidified into legend, I suppose.
So how do you think all that shit has affected you in life? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
being in the scene, and like you said, you had to do all that shit yourself. Had to book the fucking venues. Had to get the band together. Had to fucking shake fucking Nick upside down to get money, get back over the border. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's fucking has an effect on you. I mean, and now, like you said, you guys met when you were going back to school, so it's like you have that fucking dog in you to push through shit. You know what I mean?
It takes like a certain level of determination to do
Right,
that for
right.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I would say those years have been probably more influential on my life than any years subsequent, mainly because, those years were our formative years anyway. I mean, we were already teenagers growing up, forming our own ideas.
Right.
And we were kind of hashing them out on the stage. We weren't just keeping our ideas to ourselves. In high school, we were really outspoken, and we had a lot of different opinions that weren't necessarily popular.
Hey, man.
and
Those
we were just
trickle
kids.
down. They all trickle down to the
Yep.
next dude.
And so, we did what we did, and I guess when you look back on it, you don't realize it was significant at the time, but when you look back on it, it really is. And I guess it kind of continued in this town for years. I mean, there were hardcore shows and bands that come out of this town for years afterwards when I had moved away, and I wasn't even a part of it. So
Yeah, you didn't even live here when I got into the
No,
scene. So,
no.
I mean, think about that. And that changed my life for the better. So, and you weren't even, and you had no idea. And I'm only one
Right.
person, so who knows, man?
True.
You know, I'm sure you've unknowingly turned a lot of people on to music and shit, at least in this town, or made them want to do bands. I know I can say that for Brian Matson with
Yep.
his band Witness to an End.
Yep. Probably the biggest follow up to us, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, really, there was nobody else.
And that's the time that's when I started coming around.
Yeah, I miss those years, and I regret that I wasn't around for them. I don't know where I was at that time, but
Living life.
yeah, man. But it's just really cool to know that, you know, you started something that you weren't even intending on really being a scene. You're just kind of throwing things together and trying to express your ideas or to be creative in a sense. And, you know, it went on to be a scene. But I think part of that was the fact that we went downstate and we went to Detroit and we went to all these shows, even shows we didn't play. We were up in that scene, you know. And so we weren't really outsiders necessarily. We were from a small town. We had a hell of a long way to drive to get to anything going on. But the fact that we would go through with it when we were 15, 16, getting rides from our moms down to Detroit to go see these shows, I think it just showed that, you know, it don't matter where you're from, you know, where your mind, your heart's at, you know, you can accomplish anything. And I mean, you guys look at your podcast. I mean, you know, we were just talking about this off air, you know, where you started, where you're at, and now you got a studio. I mean, it's dope. It's all coming together, and it's just persistence, you know. And I think that's part of why that influences me still to this day. And I'm able to, I don't know, maybe keep my head above water during adulting, is maybe those foundations of the hardcore scene and that friendship, you know, kind of forged a foundation of, you know,
Like that never give up attitude.
yep, you got the will, there's a way.
For sure, man. So what kind of music are you into now? Because I know, you know, when we were in a band together, we were listening to psychobilly shit, rockabilly shit, you know, and we're Bill's all over the place. You're like Ryan and I. You listen to all kinds of shit. So, what's tickling your fancy as of late?
Oh, wow. Well, I listen to a lot of different shit, no doubt. I guess I'm not sure how you pronounce your name. Emil and the Sniffers, Emil.
Hamill.
Amel and the
Or
Snippers.
that's
Hamill and
how,
the
that's how
Sniffers.
I've always
Yeah.
heard it
Oh
said.
yeah, they popped up. They're kind of cool, but I listen to weird shit, all kinds of shit all over the place. But you know, I span the horizons. I was just looking at some Waylon Jennings here in the record store, all the way to straight edge hardcore in the 90s to jazz probably 15, 20 years ago. I got into, I love a little bit of everything, but I'd say most recently, you know, I'm loving what's going on in the Detroit hardcore scene. You know, seeing Cold as Life come back up, Earthmover coming back up, Never Ending Game. I mean, it's just on, and that scene is so hard right now. It's unbelievable. Like,
I don't think there's been that many bands to come out of fucking one town in this span. Like, you know, it seems like 2-3 years there's like a dozen or more bands, man. And they're all fucking good.
yeah,
It's insane. Do you think I mean, obviously it's because of you guys going down back and forth to Detroit, but I always felt that Alpena and Detroit had a really good relationship with each other because of that.
yeah.
And we recently had Lear on from Some Days Are Darker, and he mentioned, you know, knowing about Alpena guys coming down and hanging out, because he was singing in Face Down, like we were talking before. Now, did you guys ever play with them?
Actually, we did. We the demo we recorded, it's probably 97-ish. We recorded with Hasty at Cloud City. So we did that recording over the course of a day. I think it was probably a day.
And that's the one with the Rocky cover?
Yes. That is the Rocky statue cover demo. Yeah, probably the most legitimate release we ever really had. But yeah, it was a trip, especially doing vocals, like when you're recording, we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, no doubt.
So when I go to record vocals, and I was sick at the time, I had bronchitis or whatever, and my throat was pretty rough. You don't realize that when you're screaming these vocals out, you're the only one screaming. Like all the instruments are getting recorded separately. So when it comes time for the vocals,
You're just
all the neighbors are like, "Who the fuck is screaming in that house? Like, what is going on?" But it's rhythmic, so it's kind of weird. And so
hilarious.
everybody, all my friends, everybody hanging out that was in a band or went down for that recording, they're all laughing because it's like they could all hear me in that house screaming these lyrics out. And then I think we had some gang vocals on there too, so we all had to pile in a room and blah blah blah. But that was our recording. It was cool, and we ended up playing the Vegan Grocer in the basement. I don't remember where it was, but we played with Face Down. I want to say maybe One for One. Might have played that too. I don't remember. But I had mutilated my hand pretty bad in a trampoline accident. So it's
shit. I'm sorry, man.
it's
Out of
slightly
nowhere,
embarrassing.
fucking trampoline accident.
I was 16 or whatever, jumping on a tramp. I didn't realize when you hit the corner of the trampoline, it don't shoot you up, it shoots you out.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I got shot out over the tramp, and there was a swing set coming right at me. So I put my hand out, and a big 1/4-inch bolt went in my hand and ripped my hand apart. It was pretty brutal. I think I had 42 stitches on that one. Anyway, that was like 2 weeks before we had to do that recording. So my hand's all wrapped up, stitched up. We went to that show and we got on. We had bronchitis, which, by the way, if you listen to that demo, it sounds way cooler because I was sick.
Because it's like super raw.
Super raw, and my vocals were heavy. They were heavy vocals.
No, I mean
like Earth Crisis.
that's like I said earlier. This shit is like stand up today. Like if that came out today or was recorded today, and you put a different name on it,
right,
it'd be like fit right in. It's crazy.
Yeah, kind of timeless, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I think it was our mindset. I think that mindset is timeless, and you hear that in bands now. Even you can still hear that.
Yeah.
That, I don't know, not anger or struggle, but you know what I'm saying. Like you can hear the dog in it.
For sure. I gotta take a leak.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about you guys' band. That was Wild Will and the Four Plays, correct?
Yep.
So tell us about that, because I've heard a couple stories from Jeremy, but I've never heard your stories.
Okay, well, let's see. I just moved back from Florida. I was going to college and different stuff down there. And then I actually transferred back to my hometown because we have a concrete tech program here. So I come back on a government bill to do that. It worked out perfectly to come back to my hometown for that and to try to get an actual trade instead of just being a traveling cook and a truck driver my whole life. So shortly after I got back to Alpena, I met up with Cole. I think it was Cole first, and he was playing stand-up bass, and I had just started getting into maybe psychobilly, rockabilly, really heavy. Obviously, Tiger Army, Social D, a lot of stuff kind of started that, and it just kept going down the river of psychobilly. And
yeah,
so,
Social D definitely was what fucking initially got me into being more curious about like rock and roll and ending up going down that rabbit hole there with you.
Yeah, that was definitely the genesis, I would say, for that whole movement. And just do something a little bit different, but I also wanted to have a little bit of hardcore to it, kind of be like a Misfits, I don't know, Calibre's hardcore thing. It was kind of a strange ensemble there, but we got with Cole, and then I think we got with Dan Belor for drums, and then we got with you for rhythm, and we were just like a little 4-piece or whatever.
And that was like the first time I played guitar, because
right,
I just
like
started
in
playing
a show or all together.
all together, because I played bass before in
Oh, okay.
a couple bands, but like I just fucking They just, I Sid Vicious it, man. You know what I
Right.
mean? They just pulled my plug and I ran around like an asshole.
Yeah, gotcha.
It was perfect. This is
So-
exactly what we needed.
So, yeah. So had it. It's just like like power chords, bar chords, some little fucking single note doohickeys, but it's fucking. It was like it's fun, you know.
Right.
It was fun. We leaned heavily on the stand-up bass for sure, as like a centerpiece. Just clack away, dude, and
Yeah.
we'll kind of thrash around, and something will come together eventually. And it did. I think we come up with 3 or 4 songs. We had a Halloween show here locally. That was kind of a trip. We did a splice cover of. This is really weird. And this is me though. I'm kind of like symbolic in a lot of ways. On Halloween, we played a show, and it was also a Saturday night, I think. So we spliced the new Misfits Saturday night with the old Misfits Halloween. And when we made the switch,
Oh yeah.
we grabbed a vocalist from another band, Nick Hartman. I think he's been on the show.
Yeah.
And
From
we-
138.
138.
Yep. That was it. Yep. I don't know if they played before us or after us that show.
Can I be honest? Completely honest with you. I have
Sure.
no recollection of that.
It was chaotic and fucked up.
No, I mean, and I obviously was there, and now that I think about it, I'm like, okay, I remember doing that, like, on a guitar. But, man, isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
I just remember being like, it was Halloween, and I'm like, it's not fucking Saturday night, it's fucking Halloween.
Yeah, and
and
then
then
we went
like we
into
brought
it.
Nick in, and
Yeah.
it was dope, but like we sucked, we weren't very tight, but we had fun.
And that was at 10th Avenue, wasn't it?
Yep, it was at the Pump.
Yeah, 10th Avenue. This,
Yeah.
for all those who don't know, the fucking bathroom was or the whole place in the winter was heated by a fucking kerosene heater. So
Oh, yeah.
if you went in the bathroom and peed in the urinal, the shit steamed, man. You
Right.
could see outside. It was a fucking busted ass place. But
Yeah.
like you could pretty much, you could play whatever. They didn't give a fuck,
Yep.
And it wasn't pay to play. It was just like open mic and shit,
Yeah, they had open mic. Yep.
So that made it easy as far as like practicing in front of people.
Right.
Although it can be more nerve-wracking when you know every single fucking person.
yeah,
'cause
that was
typically
weird.
they're going to be more judgmental than a complete
Exactly.
stranger.
Exactly.
But we drew people from all over. I remember my buddy from work, he's like, dude, I got guys coming from Rogers City and like all these surrounding communities to go to that show. And the show flyer or whatever got mixed up, and it basically didn't give a proper time for our set. So everybody that showed up for our set actually showed up for the band after us.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they mixed their times up. So a lot of people that were there for us actually were there for the headliner. And it was kind of a weird situation. But anyway, it was a good show chaotically. We had a good time. And then, of course, that Ferndale show come up after that with the goddamn gallows. That was a weird show, though. We got booked on that. We wanted to get out of town and kind of...
How did that even come about? I don't even... Did
I don't
Cole
know.
book that?
I think so. It's Psychobilly Alliance.
Oh, okay.
That dude. I can't remember that dude's name. But he was booking shows for bands similar to us. And somehow Cole hooked up with him, and we got down there for that show. And it was like an Italian restaurant or some sort of restaurant bar.
Like half a restaurant with tables and chairs,
Yeah.
a wall of booths, and then there was a wall, a division wall that ran down the whole length of the building
Right.
with like remember they had like big doorways, and then that
Yep.
was where the bar, it was strange. That was where the bar was.
Yeah.
I got so fucked up that I remember the bartender asking me where I was from. Because she was like, are you from Canada? Are you from fucking Ireland? Are you from Georgia? Like, what the fuck? And, and I'm all like, I'm from fucking Alpena. What in the fuck is wrong with you? So it's definitely acted like fucking idiots. But I, in my defense, another guitar player brought his girlfriend, or actually wife, with him, and that's the fucking number one no-no touring in a band that I was in at the time.
Right. No girls allowed.
No girls allowed.
And that I thought was the rule, and then we got on the road and like somebody brought their girlfriend. I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah. I
But
also
either way.
remember there was a place a couple doors down that had like a sick ass pinball arcade like in their bar. They had a Terminator one,
Oh,
Indiana
yeah.
Jones, some shit like that. I was down there for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we
we
were
had
getting
fun in
warmed
that
up.
band. I think the logo we fucking bit the Pabst logo.
Oh, yeah.
I think I have a sticker stuck in my record cabinet, but I don't have any left. I think there's one above Fildo's house too. Above the doorway. Stuck, or it used to be anyway.
Yeah.
If knowing Phil though, it's there.
probably
still.
Yeah,
still
it's
there,
probably
right.
still there. He's like an archive of
Yeah.
everything Alpena's hardcore and punk. Wow.
I wonder if he has any of that video footage stuff.
Maybe he's got.
Kevin,
I
have
have
you
all-
asked him
I
about
have
it?
all of
You
his
have what he
footage.
has, right?
I have all of his footage.
Nice.
There's a couple of other sources that we need to tap into. But like for this, we'll try to splice some shit in.
Yeah, if there's pictures, videos, anything like fucking, I've never even seen
I'll
any of
send
this stuff.
I'll send them. I think I have to send it through OneDrive or some shit because they're fucking huge. Or I have to email
just
them
Google
a
Drive it.
certain way.
Yeah,
That's what I meant, Google Drive.
yeah, potato.
Yeah.
So it was only just those two shows for Wild Will then.
Yeah, Wild Will in the Four Places was pretty brief. It was more of like kind of a fun thing at that point. I don't know. I was probably pushing 40.
I was fucking Nikolai was like fucking 2 years old. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just for fun, like literally just for fun.
Yeah. It was
It is
for
a
fun.
great name for a psychobilly band, though.
Had a great fucking
and
name.
4 was spelled like Fore.
Yeah, Fore as in like yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Michael Graves, like we went and seen him in Flint and we gave him a sticker and he was like, "Oh, this is a great name and 4 plays. This is great." But when I come up with that, it was more of a throwback to the old 50s bands, the old doo-wop bands
Right,
that were
right,
like
right.
this guy Bill Haley and the Comets
Yeah,
or
Smokey
whatever.
Robinson and the Miracles, and yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And I wanted a lot of that to go on with this band. I didn't want it to just be an aggressive band. I actually wanted to get some melody in there, but be hard at the same time and just do something completely unique. Because the lineup we had and the cast of characters we had, we were all very different, but
Fuck
we were
yeah.
basically from the same cauldron of influences. So like I think we threw together a lot of stuff. I think we were close. I remember one time I was like, do a surf riff. Like we were going to be a surf band at one point, or for at least one song, because Chad could do like a pretty decent surf riff. And I'm like, keep doing that.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many vocals have you ever heard over a surf guitar? Almost none. It's just guitar. So I was like, well, fuck, that shoots down the surf thing. You know? I
Yeah.
mean, you think of like the Penetrators and the Aqua Velvets and like all these kind of bands like that, and like there's no vocals. It's all guitar work.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So I wanted to like throw some vocals in on some surf music or anything like that. Just do something different.
I'll be the wrong dude for that. I need
Right.
about 10 more years of fucking practice.
Yeah, surf's. Yeah, not everybody's cut out to be Dick Dale, but of course Dick Dale would probably beg to differ. You could
Damn.
always be what's his name? Link Ray.
Yeah, Link
That'd be
Ray is
way
fucking
cooler.
crazy. Rock Cooter.
Yep, Raccooners dope. Streets of Fire.
Man, we have a bunch of his fucking records here.
Rock Cooter.
Oh yeah.
He's fucking awesome, dude.
Yep. I wonder if he's still alive. He's probably still kicking, hey? Doing
I don't-
movies.
I don't know.
He like
He's-
did every
dude, I don't
Walter
thi-
Hill movie.
If I had to guess, I would think he's already passed away, but
I think he might be getting up there, yeah. You know what's
Yeah.
weird? When I moved to Texas, I was turning this house into a restaurant, basically. And I was living in it at the same time. And across the street.
77.
77.
Oh, wow, cool.
Shout out to Rock Cooter, you're still alive.
Yeah, what's
Hit
up,
me up,
Cooter?
Noise Avocation. You know what's up.
Yeah, hit up Noise Avocation. We'll have you on.
Watch us get hit up by his publicist or some shit.
Oh,
that would
no.
be so
Yeah,
bizarre.
that'd be sick, man. The purple
Cease and desist.
album is my favorite one.
Anyway, you moved to Texas, and what
Oh,
were you
yeah.
saying?
So I was renovating this house into like, it's supposed to be like a cafe or whatever outside of Austin. And across the street, actually, Link Ray had a little cabin. It was a trip. It was right on a creek. And my boss was like, yeah, Link Ray lives there, and he's got like a fucking 55 Fairlane in the garage. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
That's sick.
you just never know where you're going to end up. Neighbors with Link Ray. Fucking cool.
dope.
That is pretty bizarre.
But he never come back to town, so I never seen him, unfortunately.
So it's just like one of those properties that he owns that he stashed his shit there.
Yep.
And yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I think he probably got cars out of Austin or just wanted a landing spot when he was in town. And so he bought this little shitty rundown cabin, and like once every 5 years, whatever, he would put a different car in the garage or...
Fuck, that's cool.
Yeah. It would have been cool to see him, but no such luck. I did see at the Broken Spoke, what the fuck's Dale Watson. That was cool. That was
Broken
pretty
Spoke,
cool.
I assume, is a little joint down there.
Yeah, a little honky tonk bar on Lamar in Austin. That was all I really did down there when I was in Texas. Just work basically, but I did see a couple good shows there.
Yeah, Austin would be I would imagine at least back then would have been fucking cool.
Yeah.
Not so much now. I mean, it seems like that place has been flooded and overran with the people from other states, but
It's a little different now.
that's what I hear anyway.
They're keeping Austin weird, no doubt. I wasn't into it when I went there. It was '09, and it was busier than fuck. You
Yeah.
couldn't get anywhere. It was the fastest growing city in the United States after Grand Rapids. It was weird.
So it's just, mad amount
Yeah.
of people.
It was not fun to live there, but I lived out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, if you bought milk in the city, by the time you got home, it was spoiled. You know what I mean?
Holy
Like,
shit.
I was 45 minutes out of the city, so I had it pretty peaceful.
That's good.
Just me and the rattlesnakes.
But, I mean, I wish that was how it was for us. I wish Alpena was like a half an hour, 45 minutes from a major city. Make going to these shows a little less strenuous.
Oh, yeah, right.
What would be the first major city from Alpena?
Bay City, maybe, population-wise.
I don't know that I'd call that like a major city. Though.
Detroit is
Not
the
really,
major. Or Lansing would be
Lansing,
the
I
major.
guess, would be
Capital.
Saginaw.
Yeah. Saginaw, Flint, maybe
Yep.
somewhere in
Genesee County.
Yeah, Saginaw was weird, never had a scene. Flint had a little scene.
there. They definitely had a hip hop scene.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yeah, which is interesting. You know, Michigan definitely has its all-star cast of musicians that are one of a kind. Absolutely. I mean, if you look at like Bob Seger, Iggy Pop, I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, I'm not even scratching the surface, but I think something about Michigan, something about Detroit, especially, there's a heart of creativity there that's certainly unique, as opposed to anywhere else in the country. You're only going to get music from Detroit, and you know it's from Detroit. You know, for the most part. If
You know, I
look
think it's
into
like
it.
the Midwest living in the seasons.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
and,
it has its own attitude and
Yeah,
stuff for
because
sure.
you know we go through winter, and fuck, dude, I'm so sick of winter. You know what I mean? Of like having to deal with it or whatever, right? Shoveling snow,
coming.
this and that, right? It's
Yeah.
coming. So I mean, I think that does. Most of us are, you know, on this side of the state are blue collar people. Are, you know, I mean, I think all that really comes out of Michigan, making us unique to the world. I mean, fuck, do we got like Motown, the fucking Henry
the
Ford,
car industry in
you know,
general, like
like-
all that, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The furniture in Grand Rapids, like
Right,
that
right.
shit's world famous, you know.
Plus,
Yeah.
we allegedly created punk. Like, if you
Yeah.
people think like
Iggy
MC5
motherfucker.
and
That's what I'm
Iggy,
saying.
like,
MC5, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
now
dude.
that's open.
I'm like
that's
proud of
open
our
to
Michigan
debate
shit.
depending on who you're talking to, I'm sure. But like,
I'll fucking
definitely.
argue it. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think it's just because it's blue collar, to be totally honest. I think that aspect, especially with the big three in Detroit, and Detroit, you know, back in the day was not the most economically vibrant city in the States. It was the most vibrant city in the world.
Yeah, like back in the 50s and shit.
Yeah, dude, like.
I
and
think
you
that's
see-
why it fell so
Right.
hard too, because there was such a long way to go down.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think with that descent, you get some hell albums, some great lyrical content that comes out of that struggle. I mean,
That's what. That's
Just think about the
is
amount
the
of
flip
like
side of that
different
coin.
events and ups and downs that have been in there. Like you had music during the riots and stuff that were coming out. That was, yeah, there's a ton of history there. Like I've talked to people, you know, in like California and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, Michigan, like why would I ever go there? Like what's there?" Like, well, I mean, there's a shitload of history depending on what you're into, though.
right.
there's fucking water, dude. That's what's here. I
Yeah,
can live
that
on it.
too.
Shit ain't gonna make me go crazy.
Right.
No hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
No
Very-
hurricanes.
Very
no
minimal,
earthquakes.
minimal tornadoes.
Just don't
Minimal,
sail.
Yeah.
Just
Don't sail.
Yeah, you might get cast upon the shore of broken ships.
Good.
So outside of shows that you've played or toured with, bands you've toured with, what are just some of the crazy shows or fun shows that you've been to yourself in general?
Well, there's a lot of them.
Just ones that like stand out. I don't need a fucking.
Yeah. No, I won't give you the list. Shows that were unique. I know the one that always stands out to me, and it wasn't in Detroit. It was actually in Buffalo. Me and my buddy went out there to visit some friends, and we blew the head gasket on our van on the way out there. It was like 100 degrees in Canada, go figure. And we were doing 100 on the Queen Elizabeth Way, and we blew the head gasket. We got stuck in Ancaster, Canada, and Josh caught a ride back with our buddy Kyle in his El Camino, and he had to drive 5 hours out of Buffalo to get us. I rode back with the fucking tow truck driver and his fucking cousin that was sleeping
Damn.
next to me. It was the middle of the night by the time they got us, and the fucking gear shift was right in between my legs. So this fucking guy all the way to Buffalo, 5 hours, is basically grabbing my crotch to shift the gears of this tow truck. So we were in Buffalo. That's
What
not
was
the
he,
show.
Was he
but
towing? Was he towing the van?
he was towing our van.
I'd have been like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I'm going in the fucking van, dude."
Honestly,
I bet
halfway
it
through the
crossed
trip,
your
I was like,
mind.
pull over, dude. I'm getting in the van, dude.
Yeah,
Did
dude.
they
Shout
let you
out
get
to
in the
Henry
van?
Rollins. Huh?
Did they let you get in the van?
No,
Yeah.
I stuck with them because they didn't know where they were going, and I didn't know where the fuck we were going either. So they're asking me for directions. We got to Buffalo at like 3 a.m. So it was all fucked up. We actually beat Kyle in the Camino there, if that's
Weird.
believable. But anyway, so we're in Buffalo. We're basically stranded. I call my job. I'm like, yo, I got to quit because I don't know when I'm coming home. It was a pizza place. So it was whatever.
Yeah,
Just get
yeah.
another job, you know. But we were there. We had just turned 18. We wanted to get tattooed. So our buddies were already there getting tattooed. And that was part of the reason we wanted to go, plus vacation. So now we're stuck there with a blown head gasket. Whatever. We got about $100. We can make it for a little while. Maybe we'll have to get a job. So we're there, and
$100 and you're getting tattooed.
yeah, and that 100 was for the tattoo.
That's
So
what
we
I-
basically didn't have any money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Eating Boca burgers and
unless you're getting a Terry tattoo, dude, you're
oh my
fucking
god,
$100.
yeah. I
After
think
living off of it, you have like $10. Maybe you could get Terry tattoo.
right. I think I paid maybe $80 for my first tattoo.
That's what's up.
It wasn't much, but it was good work. And I wanted tribal, and he's like, "We're not doing fucking tribal."
So
I'm like,
you're
"Come
like,
on, it's
"Thank God."
98." He's like, "Yeah, tribal's going away."
Was that at Nickel City?
No, or it was Tonawanda.
In
It was
Buffalo?
Dirk. Was it Nickel City? Yeah, wherever Josh apprenticed.
I think that's
Yeah.
Nickel City, if I'm not
I think
mistaken.
that was the name of it. Yeah, Tonawanda.
That's sick.
Yeah,
So
it
you got
was
talked
cool.
out of tribal, thank God.
Yeah, thank God. And I ended up getting some weird shark, tribal, fucking, I don't even know what it is. It was the first tattoo.
Where is it?
It's on my
on your
calf.
leg?
Yeah. Fill the legs up first. But yeah, so anyway, in Buffalo, the most interesting show, I would say, the Earth Crisis Furia 5 VOD tour was coming through.
Oh, VOD, dude.
Yeah, and that was right when the fucking self-title was out, and we were all going fucking crazy for that whole
Yeah.
situation. It was really cool. It was different. But of course, Furia 5 had just blown up.
What
And
what
we
were
didn't
they
really
on?
know them. It had to be the
At
first.
war, like at
Yeah.
first victory release?
Had to be. Because it
Damn,
was
dude.
98, so.
At war with the world.
Or 97.
Fucking
97,
Stickman in his fucking prime, dude.
Yeah. So here's the interesting part, and Earth Crisis headlined it. We roll up to the show, and Stickman's out there, and he's just talking to some scene kids. He's got no shirt on. The dude's 6'7".
Yeah, dude.
He's fucking shredded,
Still is, dude.
covered in tats, and we all knew who he was because obviously
And fucking dreads.
right, the dreads gave him away, and he's telling this story, and I didn't stick around to listen to it because we were fucking terrified. We're like, oh my god, who the fuck is that? Oh, that's fucking Stickman. So anyway, that was cool, but the show was insane. It was a huge theater, an old theater, kind of like our state theater. Imagine that theater cleared out with the stage. So there's
Sounds
probably
pretty badass.
I don't know, 500 people there. There's a lot of people
Nice.
there, a lot of kids. So anyway, that was dope. Obviously VOD was great. Fury 5 stole the show. Another Victim, I think, played as well.
Damn.
They were good too.
That's fucking stacked. No, that
Yeah.
would have been like a was that like a no, I guess VOD
No.
wasn't on Victory.
No, that I don't know. Yeah, and then we seen a Revelation tour with Better Than 1,000 and Ignite. That was dope. That was a
Classic
huge lineup.
fucking bands, dude.
Yeah, we got really lucky. The 2 weeks we were in Buffalo, every fucking awesome band was coming through.
No shit.
And then we seen All Out War and Death Threat. That was another really good show. But I would have to say, as far as the shows I've been to as like a small town scene kid that would try to get out of town and stuff, you know, the one that stands out the most, and it's probably just for its theatrics, would be the American Psycho tour for the New Misfits with Sick of It All and H2O.
Oh, that would have been a sick lineup, dude.
Yeah, that was Thicker Than Water tour. That was built the last tour.
American Psycho. Now
And American
they
Psycho.
they closed, I assume.
Let me see. Sick of It All opened, H2O followed, and the Misfits closed it out.
No shit. You know, it's
Yeah.
weird how that works, because, like, you know how Toby was a fucking roadie for Sick of It All, and then they're
Right.
opening for his band?
Right,
It's
right,
fucking
right.
gnarly, dude.
That's a 5-year plan.
Yeah, right?
But yeah, it was dope. We didn't know what we were getting into. We didn't know what was up with the Misfits, especially me. Like, my buddies kind of knew about the Misfits, but like,
You're like Danzig Misfits, right?
right. But see, where I was Black Flag, Minor Threat, and then all of a sudden Earth Crisis, Bloodlet, all the Victory bands. Like,
okay.
I didn't even get to
You
a
got-
point where I got into the Misfits.
You just got to him later on then.
Yep, I got to him way later. And the cool thing about that show, this is a trip. So obviously we were there for H2O and Sick of It All.
Yep.
We were Jinkos, baggy pant kids, right? We were walked up to Clutch Cargo's, right? And there's a fucking line of skull painted black leather jacket, crazy looking motherfucking devil locks from here as far as you can see. And we're all these shaved head little kids with our Jinkos. And we're like, what the fuck are we getting into? This ain't no like hardcore show that we're ready for, right? So we got up in there, and obviously H2O and Sick of It All were great. And then our friend's Ma drove us down there. Well, she showed up to the show early to pick us all up. Well, me and my boy Kyle, we wandered back into the show to see what this Misfits event was all about. The lights dipped, whatever, and we're surrounded by all these face painted, tattooed of Danzig tattoos everywhere. I mean, it's fucking crazy. We weren't ready for this shit. The lights are down, and fucking all of a sudden we see from backstage a torch, like a flame, and it's the fucking Crimson Ghost. He's dragging a body bag out on the stage, and we're just like, what the fuck, right? He wanders off stage. You can see like the other band slowly creeping in the darkness, and then they break into fucking American Psycho or whatever, and Michael Graves jumps up out of the body bag straight into the song. We were fucking blown away. Like, we weren't ready for that. Like, we'd seen a lot of cool hardcore bands and stuff, a lot
But
of
nothing
energy.
like that kind of
The
put into
theatrics.
it, and the theatrics,
Yeah.
that stage show. Yeah,
the
dude.
torches, like, holy fuck, we weren't ready for that. So that left an impression a little bit.
That makes it so much cooler that you didn't know what to go into, because a lot of the
Yep.
people that were there who had their face painted and shit obviously already were fully fledged into it and already
Right.
knew what was up. So, man, that would have been fucking nuts to see that.
Yeah, that probably was one that stands out the most, honestly. That was a big fucking deal because, like you just said, we weren't ready for what we were about to see. So really, it's like a knockout punch. Like,
Yeah,
all
I
right,
mean, if I think about anybody, you're going to Sick of It All on H2O,
yeah, yeah.
and then
And how good was that, right?
yeah, and then the Misfits show up. It's kind of, and you've never seen them or heard them. That is
Right.
pretty random.
Yep. And like at that time, like I would hear bands that had melody or whatever, harmony, and I hated it. I'm like, I want it hard, I want it fucking loud and
Right.
fucking metal. And so like when I seen the Misfits, and I'm not saying like H2O and Sick of All are like that, but that's different. They're legends, they're hardcore.
No, I
you
know what you're saying.
It was a little bit different. But then we hear the Misfits, Michael Graves Misfits of all, with all this melody and harmony and it was like, man, this might be able to grow on
Yeah,
us.
and it's fucking sick, dude. I mean, I don't care what I know there's the argument,
Right.
or like Michael Graves was this or that, but based on the music, man, I like that theatrical shit. It's like in all the songs, just like a lot of the old ones, he's just talking about old fucking movies and like
Right.
this shit's cool, man. You know?
And I mean, his
Both
lyrical
eras
content
were
is
good.
Right, and that's just
Like,
it. It's like
in their
two
own way,
completely
like-
different bands with the same
Yeah.
name to me.
Yeah,
And I don't care for anything like really past that, to be honest.
Like after Famous Monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just kind of
Right.
like, eh.
They were kind of
I
like a
do
shooting
like
star.
Project 1950.
Yeah, that's not bad. I like the covers, and I've
But-
seen them live do that set, which was cool.
Yeah, but I don't like consider it. I mean, it's a Misfits album, but it's like more of a fun, playful thing. It's not
Right.
like a
It's like Jerry.
yeah.
Well,
I don't know. It's
it
always
was
like
Jerry,
I've only ever
Marky,
seen the
and-
Misfits with Jerry. Like I never
Oh,
got
really?
to see him like with anybody else.
Okay. Yeah, Project 1950 was Dez and Marky on drums, so that was like punk rock.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
super
gods.
group.
That was
Yeah. So that was
Dez was
Well, I wanna see
playing
it.
when I seen them. I seen him in like 2013, 14.
okay.
so
That's
it
probably
was
the same
like
tour.
down late.
Where at?
Harpo's.
Okay, we seen them at the Orbit Room in GR.
It was them, Gutter Ghouls, which was like a horror
Okay.
punk psychobilly
Yep.
band. That was the first time that I had seen them, and I met Bill, who's in Illmatic, and
Right.
Brandon, and Kevin was the drummer at the time, who's the drummer for what's that country band? The Ryan J dude.
Ryan J. Country.
Yeah, the one that Bill was in for a minute. I think somebody else played too, but I can't remember who it was. But yeah, it was just Jerry. Like I never got to see another
Oh.
edition of. I do have a picture like standing next to Jerry. Like
Nice.
I got to meet him and shit. But yeah, to see the American Psycho tour would have been fucking bizarre. But I was
Yeah.
6 or something.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Sure. Yeah, it was 97 or 8.
Yeah, so I would have been 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's cool too. I mean, you know, like I was born in 1980, so unfortunately, my head was filled with a lot of shitty music for years. Not to say that Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue are shitty, but when you hear it 24 million times a day, all day long,
Yeah.
it becomes shitty. So it's like
Yeah, dude.
prison
Plus,
walls.
if you go watch either band in concert now, you would be well in your rights to say they're
Right.
shitty.
Fucking A.
Yeah, it's not like you know, catching Oasis right now or something.
Yeah, man, I seen that. That's fucking nuts. That like,
That
Yeah.
makes complete sense to me. You know what? Liam's probably like, dude, let's make some money.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't
Right.
you? It's perfect. Everybody, it's like the 90s
it's
are
the right
back.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if Limp Bizkit can do it, Oasis can do
Exactly.
it for
Right,
sure. I'm
Because-
not even into Oasis.
Right,
or,
I
or
like
Limp
Oasis,
Bizkit, but
I
And-
love Oasis. I
and,
think they're way underrated.
I never
And
got
I'm
into
curious. I'm curious as to what they're going to do, but I'm very skeptical as that it's just a fucking money grab. You know
And
what
it
I mean?
Probably
I seen
is
some
to a degree.
shit like going on with Ticketmaster, like a bunch of errors happening, and they were like, they somehow blocked the tickets from being scalped or whatever. But
Mhm.
then after they did that, they increased the prices by like
Oh.
20% or some shit. And
That's
I was
happened
like,
before, yeah.
you're just doing the same thing you
Yeah,
guys
no
are.
shit.
I think they're under some type of fucking investigation for it, but clearly it's not that pressing because
Yeah,
they're
it's like
still
if they're
doing
gonna
it.
put out,
Right.
are they? You know, I haven't heard they're just gonna go out on tour. Or are they gonna put out new music?
I think it's just a tour.
Tour,
I
yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
I haven't read
Yeah.
anything about music, but I also haven't like gone out of my way to look. I've just seen shit on Instagram
Right,
about
And
it.
they
right.
could be waiting to see how the tour goes.
Yeah,
But no, I
think
definitely just seen.
it'll sell out of like.
Oh,
Right.
fuck yeah.
It's just it's a
Yeah.
cash in.
It's, you know, I mean, honestly, when Oasis came out, I think I was into hardcore at that point. I think it was 96 they probably come out. So when they came out, we fucking hated them. We hated
Right,
everything
right.
on MTV. We're like, this shit's fucking soft. It's meaningless.
Yep.
But once I turned 30, 40 years old, I'm like, wow, this Oasis band really fucking had something going on that no other band was really doing. I mean, they're almost harkening back, maybe not to the Stones, but like, who do they remind me of? That you could tell that they were aping off that one lick, and it just lasted forever. I can't remember, but anyway, I grew to appreciate them when I got older.
Right,
And the
right.
uniqueness of what they had going on. Plus, if you listen to interviews with those guys, they're fucking awesome. I mean, all they do is fucking bitch at the interviewer the whole time.
Oh no,
I
I know.
love it. It's like taking me back almost to kind of like English punk in a
Yeah,
way.
when they were popping. What year did you? Yeah, they were popping off when I was like junior high.
Yeah.
So
96.
yeah, so they were like the same thing, but I mean I was like closet liked them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But what you're saying about being closed-minded because of like, you know, you're only listening to metal punk or you're only listening to whatever. I was guilty of it, and I did that with the Beatles, where I was like, man, I don't want to even fucking hear that
Right.
shit. And then like, you know, as soon as I don't know, 21, 22 years old, man, I was just like, I started spreading out, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's like you said. Now there's still a couple of those bands, man. I can't fucking stand Motley Crue.
Right.
You know, shit like Poison.
That's because,
AC/DC.
like you said, like we kind of, at least I did for sure, grew up in all the greatest hits time era of all those bands.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So that was all that was on the radio here. That was all you heard people
Yep.
talk about. That was like
The
all there
classic
was
rock
in the-
stations
yeah.
around here is like endless.
they're still playing them.
Yeah.
Like, that was the main thing that you found in music stores and stuff. Like, yeah, Camelot and FYE had a selection of, you know, this, that, and the other, but primarily, like, there was, you know, billboards of fucking Motley Crue albums, or like, and it had its time. I can't do that whole hair era.
Yeah.
You know, another
Yeah.
thing that honestly
And we hear it endlessly here, too.
Right.
makes hardcore and punk, like going to shows back in the day and getting shit that you know you're not going to be able to get fucking anywhere else. And, you know, that's kind of gone now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Like, I don't know.
It's easier for
It's like, it's good, it's awesome for the band to,
yeah.
like, get out more, you know? But I'm just saying, like, from a collector standpoint, it's like, it's not as unique because, you know, somebody could, with the right amount of money, find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because, I mean, anything online, you go on Discogs, you can find any
Yeah.
fucking
Like
release.
when you're talking about
basically.
hard time, dude, finding a hard time fucking 7-inch. Oh man.
Yeah. I would love to hear it if you can. Those guys are awesome. I mean, and I honestly, I don't remember a song because we didn't have anything from them when we went on tour.
And that's what
you
I
know?
mean is like nowadays with the band camp and everything.
Right.
And
It's
how
like a time machine.
even when we recorded Wild Will in the Four Place and how we did that on like a fucking 8-track or 4-track, and we did that kind of fucking ghetto.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even that is like, that was onto a cassette, which was then converted
Yeah.
into a fucking CD, and now it's like we have 2 computers in here and we could create
Yeah, we
anything.
have like a miniature recording studio
we
in
could,
here.
we could
like,
make a beautiful sounding fucking album out of just this shit.
Yep.
And it wasn't like, I mean, yeah, there was some money that went into it, but take it like now compared to like 20
Right, and I'm
years
thinking
ago.
like Phil Spector's got a wall of
Yeah,
sound and
exactly.
he's, you know, paying an orchestra X amount of dollars for fucking 3 days straight. Like, yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, because anybody can set up an audio interface and a little vocal isolation
Yep.
booth and just
Fucking
go at it.
giving her. So, Bill, what are some other hobbies? I know you're pretty much like into the same shit we are. Movies, I know you're like probably the most intelligent movie person I think I know.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I remember when you were coming to my house to watch Lovecraft Country, when
Oh,
we were
yeah,
all watching
yeah,
that like
absolutely.
weekly for a minute.
That and Raised by Wolves.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when you were breaking down Raised by Wolves was when I first seen like your vast music movie knowledge. I was like, holy shit! Like this guy's like on another level.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm not really sure how it come up. I guess just being a child of the '80s, only child.
I think that only child that had a lot to
yeah.
do with me too, with the movies.
I think that's probably what it really is. Cause like, you know, like my dad just passed recently, but like when I was growing up, he was working in Detroit, so I really didn't see him a lot. So like my father figures, no shit, were Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly Stallone and Bruce Willis. You know what I mean? Cause like
John McClane,
yeah,
yippee
yeah. I mean, what better father figure to have, right?
yeah.
You know, shout out to my pops. Love you, miss you, but Bruce Willis was really cool. So it's tough to compete with that. You know what I'm saying? So like that probably took hold, but yeah, throughout the years, I definitely know my movies. When I moved to GR, there was this little boutique movie rental store like a block from my house, and I had $0. But you could get like 5 movies for like $3 at that place. And they
Sick.
were old, obscure, weird shit. So then it come from like a broad spectrum of movies to like the weird shit, the David Lynch and all this different shit. So I guess it kind of expanded from there and whatnot.
But it was pretty much you were put in a situation to where you only had access
yeah,
and could only afford like this particular kind of movie, so it kind of shaped your fucking shit now, right? I mean, it's
it really did. Yeah.
circumstances
Yeah.
make you. It's fucking crazy. I have a question though. We were hanging out last weekend, and you were showing me some of your fucking Blu-rays. Did you ever
No.
find Lolita?
Lolita, which version?
The Blu-ray version.
The Kubrick version?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you find it?
Oh yeah, but I actually took it. So here's another weird part, and to your point about the movie thing.
You put it in where it's produced by somebody else,
Yes,
because that's not independent. Yeah, I
Yeah.
follow you.
that is. I'm a little bit weird like that. I guess just because I know what it is, and it doesn't necessarily belong in the lineup.
Right,
Just
right.
like the producers and Mel Brooks, like every one of his movies, I think was Warner Brothers or something like that. Well, the producers wasn't. It was a different company. And so when you buy a Mel Brooks set, you're not going to get the producers, right? You're going to
Right,
get every
right.
other movie because he was under one studio. Anyway, that's a bit of a side note. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the genesis of it. But yeah, I don't know. It's always been a medium that's fairly interesting to me. And I had delusions of being a director one day. Probably not going to happen, but I do got a script that I'm banging around a little bit more. Fortunately, Stephen King wrote a book called The Cell, which is basically what my script was about. And there was also a movie
Stephen
called The
King.
Signal, which fucked it up too, so I'll have to throw that one out.
I will say this, man. I was telling Ryan about this too the other day. Is when you were living at your mom's, and it would have been when you moved back here for a little. We weren't in the band yet.
Oh, okay.
It was like when you moved
Yeah.
back the first time.
Yeah.
And we watched Saving Private Ryan in your mom's basement, and you had the fucking surround sound hooked up, and I was like, I was at fucking Normandy, and that was the first time I was like in a somebody's like home like theater, but just done in like their
Right.
mom's basement.
Yeah.
But it was fucking sick. Like I was just like, how was this down here, you know? So,
Yeah, I can make a
that shit was
foxhole
pretty cool.
into like a penthouse suite if I got the right gear.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, I would move away a lot. So when I'd come home, I'd always land at my ma's, and she would take me in and throw me in the basement until I got on my feet, which it's been a lot of years doing that. Shout out, Ma. But yeah, I guess movies are kind of always a thing for me. Now my gear is about as good as it can get. The movie collection's ramping up pretty good. I'm now into boutique Blu-rays and trying to get different releases like that, some more obscure stuff. But
Yeah, you
I don't have
fuck
the
with
time
any
for
of
it.
that fucking pop shit.
No. I remember when the Titanic came out. That was like the dividing line for me when I kind of started not watching mainstream Hollywood
Yeah.
anymore. I was like, James Cameron went from T2 to this shit.
Yeah, right.
No offense to everybody in the fucking world that loves Titanic, you know, but I'm more of an Elvis guy. I'm not a Beatles guy.
My son does a really good impression of Leonardo DiCaprio from Titanic.
Really?
Yeah.
I just watched
The death
Wolf of
scene.
Wall
Yeah, I was gonna
Street.
say
this.
I've
So
never seen that movie to
So
this day.
fucking funny.
You've
dude.
never seen Titanic?
Nope.
Damn. I just watched Wolf of Wall Street like before we got here.
Nice.
Because I was like, I haven't watched this in a few hours. I woke up early, or a few years, not
Yeah,
hours.
yeah.
Sorry.
It'll feel like
movies,
a few hours when
movies
you're
a
done.
few hours. But yeah, it'd been a few years since I'd watched it, so I just threw it on this morning.
I love the scene when he grabs the mic and he's like literally doing like hardcore vocals, like straight up.
Yeah,
He's
just
like doing a
screaming.
motivational speech
Yeah.
and he's just out there giving it. I'm like, oh fuck, Leo's been to a fucking show or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good flick. I just watched Furiosa not long ago. That wasn't bad.
Yeah,
Wasn't
it
as
seemed that got
good.
put on HBO.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yep, it just got put up. Fall Guy just got put up. I kind of want to see that. But honestly, like movies now, I'm just not into them. It's so rare. I mean, I'm saying like I don't even remember 2008, No Country for Old Men, and then that was the Coen Brothers, and then Paul Thomas Anderson had There Will Be Blood, same year.
Amazing.
Amazing fucking movie. And then James Mangold had 310 to Yuma, which was good, but and they're all westerns. They're all modern westerns, and that was the last good year. Honestly, after 08, movies kind of went to shit.
I don't know if it's movies or
society.
the industry, but it's like it's kind of like the remake argument,
Yeah.
the reboot argument. I just want an original fucking story, man.
Yeah,
And I
man,
think it's
most
hard
shit
to
that's
find
being
that.
done now is just recycled
Right.
from another
It's hard
movie.
to find that in, mainstream Hollywood.
For
same
sure.
Same thing with music. You want to listen to fucking Taylor Swift and everything
think
else that sounds
they
the
know,
same.
like,
Hmm.
things you're familiar with will sell regardless, rather than taking a chance on something new, nobody knowing what the fuck it is. So I think maybe that has something
It's
to
just
do with it. And
like
just
Disney gutting everything.
the industry is just different, I guess.
Well, I think it's a profound lack of creativity in writing.
Yeah.
It's straight up like
It's just gone.
people are getting
And I
lazier
wonder if that's
and less imaginative.
Yeah.
Or they're not allowed to because they're tied to a contract with whoever, so
Could
their
be.
freedoms are
Right.
like cut off at somewhere.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
that this shit's
Or it could
happening
be-
at birth.
Could be a collection of everything, like
It's like
coming
the
together.
world and
Yeah. It's the whole cauldron of political correctness. And
Yeah.
honestly, if you look at it,
if you're scared to say something because you
Yep.
might get fucking canceled.
exactly.
Now we don't care because we're fucking
Right.
old, but like
I don't think we're even big enough to
kids.
cancel.
No, but I'm just saying on a personal note,
Oh,
man. You know what
I
I'm
got
saying?
you.
Like there's people that they don't have, like we were saying about drive and shit. They just don't. Whatever. They just rather look at their fucking and scroll or whatever dumb shit they
Right.
do. They don't have like that thirst to learn or to talk about ideas and fucking.
Yeah. I think
events and
society
shit.
has just gotten too soft. Everything's too convenient now. Even the cities, like the cities aren't the cities anymore. I mean they are, but they're falling apart in a completely different way than they ever
Yeah,
used
in a
to.
different way. I know it's weird. Isn't it?
I don't know if it's geopolitical shiftings or what. Maybe we're entering the age of Aquarius or whatever it is. Irregardless, as far as music is doing great, and this is the right podcast to talk about music. Movies, unfortunately, are doing shit, but it's a visual medium. So in a way, you're kind of beholden to the politics at the time or the money at the
Yeah,
time.
most definitely.
And whereas music's not like that. I mean, music is a sound, not a voice or a face or a visual aspect necessarily. That's like an addition to what the core of it is. So I think music is going to last forever because it's the original art form. I mean, what else was there besides music to begin with?
Talking.
Drawing.
That's exactly.
maybe,
No, I
you
mean
know.
it's grunting and fucking chanting, all that shit, man.
So it's always going to be here.
Vibrations, yeah, for sure.
Whereas movies won't be because, you know, maybe theater come in whatever age in the past and theater became a thing, but there's too much to that. Whereas music, you can literally just open your mouth and you have music. So it's like God, you know, given at birth in a way. Whereas a visual medium, you got to work for that shit.
You
Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
natural, you know?
So speaking of music, that's a good way to get into our usual last of the episode question.
Oh, yes.
So outside of the typical genre of hardcore and metal and that sort of thing, what's something that you listen to that people wouldn't expect?
All right. Well, I was wandering through the record store looking at some different records, knowing this question was going to come up. And I got a whole lot of different artists I could probably throw out there, but the one that seemed to be the most interesting was Rod Stewart.
Man, I fucking hate Rod Stewart.
Fucking Rod Stewart.
Yeah, I don't like Rod Stewart either.
I know, and nobody does. That's why.
Well,
I
there
like
is
him.
the argument of a lot of people that I know that don't like Rod Stewart love the Faces.
Okay.
But to me, they're like, it's the same style shit, really. Like,
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you why it's Rod Stewart.
yeah, because I was gonna say, what is it
Yeah.
about Rod Stewart?
It's not him. Just like some other figures in the scene, that it's not them personally. It's one song that
Okay.
opened up doors to an entire different life path, I guess, for me. And those doors were opening to this one song of Rod Stewart. And it's the song he had on the Grand Theft Auto video game, Young Turks.
Oh, okay.
It's something about that song. I mean, I played a lot of Grand Theft Auto, right?
So it took all that wait for GTA to come
Yeah.
out before you were like, damn, man, it's Rod Stewart shit.
Oh,
got
I
it
fucking
going
hated
on.
Rod Stewart. I mean, I thought his shit was the lamest shit ever. If you ever seen a live show of
I
Rod
just didn't
Stewart,
like him
it's
because of
horrible.
that Forever Young video. When
Yeah.
I was a kid, I was like, dude, I don't like what he's doing to that little boy in the box of that truck.
Yeah, the back
Patting
of the
him on the
black
head,
and white
man.
video. Yeah,
I'm like, fuck him.
That
And it
was
just
a
stuck
weird
like
video.
that, which is not really fair now, but whatever. You know?
Yeah,
Too late. I don't have enough room in my life for Rod Stewart.
that is weird. I want to say that was like his daughter or something. That wasn't even a boy.
Forever.
Isn't that
It was
weird?
fucking weird either way.
It is a weird video, and that's probably the only video I actually know of his. I think it was the only video that come out on MTV like in my lifetime.
The If You Want My Body, that song is
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
video.
Was
Maybe
that a
it's
video?
Top of the Pops or something, but that is very disturbing as well.
But have you seen fucking David Bowie and Mick Jagger's video for fucking
Dancing in the Street,
Yeah.
very, very
All right.
strange.
Well, all kings and legends have their moments of bearing their ass to the entire world. And Rod Stewart, as we were talking about earlier, certainly has that
Oh,
going for
most
him.
definitely.
But anyway, the song Young Turks, it basically lyrically, it was about a boy named Billy moving to the city. And that was basically what got me down to Miami. And
that's what's up.
during that whole time, I was working on South Beach. I was hustling street flyers for a printing company. And between that and Billy Ocean, that was on
Oh,
repeat
love me
the
some
whole
Billy
time.
Ocean.
It was South Florida. It was irreverent. And it's super embarrassing, so that's why I brought it up.
Fucking A, dude.
So, you can't do any worse than that. So anybody from here on out, don't feel bad.
I can't think of. We've had a few that were like, oh shit, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm too hungry to think of them off the top of my head, though. But
There's a lot of them. I probably could have had a way better one if I had thought about it more, but it just felt like, we're just going to go with ye old Rod Stewart.
no, that's a good one. Because
It is a good-
you are definitely the first
Yeah.
Rod
Oh,
Stewart.
yeah.
I don't remember.
And the only.
We'll see.
I would not expect you to say that either. Because I'm just trying to imagine you in your old Riviera, like,
But if you would like,
Yeah.
laid back.
you
Like,
can take a complimentary free Rod Stewart record on your
Ooh.
way out the door.
Only if it's got Young Turks on it. That should be the intro song for this
I'm
interview.
sure
Do you-
we have.
do you know if is that a Rod Stewart song?
I
Young
think it's an
Turks?
original, yeah. Whatever was on that GTA soundtrack.
We'll have to.
Yeah.
I'd have to see what a
Find it
record
for
it
you.
is, but I have literal boxes of Rod
Oh
Stewart.
my
So
God.
there's a good
Wow.
chance I have it. Unless it came out in like 2006 or something and it's only a CD.
I don't know.
but we'll have to see.
But it's that kind of like irreverent music that you put on and you don't know why it makes you smile. And it could be because you're embarrassed for the performer singing this shit. Or if you actually somewhere in your psyche, deep down, kind of like it. Or maybe both.
Fuck it.
I
Fuck it,
guess.
that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's what's cool about music, though. Like, not
Right.
everybody's gonna like the same shit or be into the same shit. Obviously, you can debate that, but at the end of the day, like, whatever your flavor is, that's your flavor. Like, different shit resonates with different people.
Yeah, yeah. And I think mostly like music like that, that's kind of irreverent. It's more the hook or a time in my life.
Oh,
where
definitely. Or the melody.
Yep. Or for whatever reason that sticks, almost like a tattoo in a way, like a tattoo you're not proud of, but it is tattooed on you.
Dude, that's kind of how I am with the Gin Blossoms.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, jealousy.
Exactly.
Um,
Found out about you.
Yeah,
Fucking
there
whore.
you go, dude. That's what
Oh,
I'm
shit.
saying.
Goddamn slut broke my heart.
It's been fun. This was a lot of learning for me because I wasn't around for any of this stuff. So
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed hearing
Yeah,
about
love
all
the
of it.
Alpena history lesson, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I mean, I've been a avid listener, watcher now of the podcast, and I'm glad to break in your new studio, man. You guys are coming up. And
You're the first interview on the executive table.
Yeah, fucking A, man.
Yep.
I love you, Bill.
This
Thanks for
thing is
coming on
fucking
here, man.
Way nicer.
You're my boy, always. Since day one, man.
Word up.
Yeah,
Same,
man,
same.
we appreciate it, and yeah, we'll be fucking talking to you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Peace.